the astronaut who disappeared in the far future. When Earth had finally reached the stars, humanity sent its bravest explorers to the unknown edges of the galaxy. Among them was Commander Ethan Reyes, a calm and brilliant astronaut known for his courage. His mission was simple: to travel beyond the known space and map the darkness that even light feared to enter. His ship, Horizon 1, was a masterpiece of Terran engineering, powered by the newest jump drive and a heart full of human hope. The journey started with cheers from Earth cities and millions watching the launch live. Ethan smiled through the camera and said, "If I don't come back, tell them humanity made it." Days turned to weeks, and Horizon 1 moved past every known star map. The crew watched black holes, dying suns, and frozen planets drift by. There were no signals, no signs of life, only silence, pure and endless. Then one strange day, the sensors picked up a pulse, a rhythm that did not belong to any known frequency. It was coming from a region called the Veil of Echoes, a part of space no ship had ever entered and returned from. Ethan's co-pilot warned him, "Sir, that place, it kills everything." But Ethan only stared at the glowing mist and whispered, "That's why we're here." As Horizon 1 entered the veil, the ship began to tremble. Lights flickered, gravity twisted, and static filled every screen. The crew tried to contact Earth, but the transmission broke. Through the interference, a single line was sent, Ethan's voice saying, "If anyone hears this, tell Earth we found something alive." Then silence. Complete and final. Back on Earth, panic spread. The Space Council launched dozens of rescue missions, but none came back. Each one that entered the veil vanished just like Horizon 1. After a year, the Council marked the ship as lost, and Ethan's name joined the wall of fallen explorers. Yet some refused to believe it. A few scientists insisted the veil was not death, but a doorway. "It reacts," one of them said, "like it's breathing." The government shut the theory down, calling it madness. Years passed and Earth moved on. Children learned about Commander Ethan Reyes in their history books. His story became legend, a man who went too far, chasing the edge of creation. Then, 15 years later, something strange happened. At a Terran outpost near the border of the Veil, an old satellite suddenly came to life. Its sensors caught a faint human signal, repeating a short message over and over. "This is Horizon 1. Coming home." At first, the officers thought it was a system glitch. The veil had been silent for so long that no one believed it could be real. But when the frequency was cleaned, the voice became clear, older, rough, but human. "This is Commander Ethan Reyes. I'm coming home. And I'm not alone." The message looped for hours. Then the signal vanished again. Within hours, the news reached Earth. The Council of Nations held an emergency meeting. Some said it was a ghost transmission. Others whispered that it might be a trap from an alien force. The veil had always been feared. Even machines refused to enter it now. But deep in the council chamber, one young officer stood and said, "We owe it to him. He went beyond for us. Now we must go beyond for him." Soon after, a Terran scout ship, Nova Dawn, was launched to track the source of the signal. Its captain, Mira Holt, grew up hearing stories about Ethan Reyes. She believed he was still alive. When asked why she was taking such a risk, she replied, "Because humans don't abandon their own." As Nova Dawn approached the edge of the veil, sensors began to distort. Strange lights danced in the darkness like living stars. A storm of energy surrounded the ship, pulling it closer. On the radar, a shape appeared. A ship design older than any in service, its hull broken but still intact. It was Horizon 1, drifting slowly out of the mist. The Terran crew gasped. "That's impossible," one whispered. "That ship's been gone for 15 years. Captain Mira tried to hail it. "This is the Terran vessel Nova Dawn, do you read?" Static replied at first. Then a deep, calm human voice answered, "This is Commander Reyes." "It's been a long time." The entire bridge fell silent. Sensors showed more than just one life form aboard. At least 3 life signs. 1 human, and 2 massive energy readings unlike anything known. Mira's voice trembled as she asked, "Who's with you, Commander?" There was a pause, and then Ethan spoke again, his tone quiet but filled with something beyond understanding. "They found me when I was dying. They saved me. They raised me." Behind his words came another sound, not human but melodic, almost like 2 voices whispering together in a language no one had ever heard. The message ended, leaving the crew frozen. The computer identified the alien tones as royal patterns used only by ancient empires. The translator tried to decode it, and a phrase appeared on screen. "Our son returns." The bridge went silent again. No one spoke. The impossible had happened. Commander Ethan Reyes, the lost astronaut, was alive. And he was not alone, and far across the galaxy, two empires that once ruled the stars stirred from their ancient sleep, sensing that their child had returned to the light. The universe would never be the same again. The return from the void. The Nova Dawn floated in silent awe before the drifting wreck of Horizon 1. 15 years lost, yet there it was, scarred by time but still breathing with a faint blue glow. Captain Mira Holt felt her pulse racing as the scanners confirmed. One human heartbeat, and two others that the system could not identify. The crew whispered to one another, fear mixed with wonder. What if it's not really him? One said, what if the veil changed him? But Mira ignored their doubts. She had waited her whole life to see the legend who went beyond the stars. The docking bridge extended slowly. The metal groaned as it touched the ancient hull. A small hiss echoed when the doors opened, and through the rising mist a tall figure stepped out. It was Commander Ethan Reyes, but not the same man who left Earth. His once brown hair was now silver like starlight, and strange glowing lines ran across his skin. His eyes shimmered with a light that did not belong to any human. Yet his smile was calm, familiar, human. Behind him, two figures emerged. They were tall, graceful, and terrifyingly beautiful. Their presence filled the air like thunder and peace at the same time. One had skin like crystal blue with eyes that glowed gold. The other had dark silver skin with markings that shifted like flowing water. Every soldier in the docking bay raised their weapons instinctively. But Ethan raised a hand. "Stand down," he said softly. "They mean no harm." Mira stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Commander, is that really you?" Ethan nodded, his voice quiet and tired. "I told you I'd come home," he said. "But I didn't come back alone." The two alien women walked closer, studying the humans like curious children. Then the taller one, the one with blue crystal skin, spoke. Her voice was deep and ancient. "We are Serenia of Alaris," the silver one continued in the same tone. "And I am Kelra of Vorn." The translation AI struggled to keep up. The words they spoke were not simple sounds, They carried emotion, memory, and something older than any known race. Mira asked carefully, Are you his captors?" Ethan shook his head slowly. "They are my mother's," he said, his tone full of both love and sorrow. The words hit the air like thunder. The crew stared at him in disbelief. "Your what?" Someone whispered. Ethan smiled faintly. "When my ship fell into the veil, time broke apart. I was dying, lost in the dark. They found me there. Two ancient minds. Trapped for ages, they saved me, they raised me, and they changed me." He touched his chest, where faint blue light pulsed beneath his skin. "Part of me is still human," he said. "But part of me belongs to them." Mira didn't know what to say. The scanners confirmed it. Ethan's DNA was no longer purely human. It carried new strands perfectly merged, as if written by nature itself. The council back on Earth was notified immediately, within hours. Every government and military in the Terran Alliance knew that Ethan Reyes had returned. And he was no longer just human. But what terrified them most wasn't Ethan. It was the two alien queens standing behind him. For both Serenia of Alaris and Kelra of Vorn were names from the ancient galactic records, rulers of two empires that vanished over 10,000 years ago. If they were alive, it meant history itself had changed. Back aboard the Nova Dawn, Ethan stood by the viewport. Staring into the endless darkness, Mira joined him. "You said you were dying," she asked. "What happened after that?" Ethan sighed softly, his eyes lost in memory. "The veil is not a place," he said. "It's alive, it speaks, it watches. When my ship entered, it tried to tear me apart. But the two queens, their souls were trapped inside. They gave me their strength, and I gave them my humanity." He looked down at his hands, glowing faintly. "We became something new, not alien, not human, but both." Mira felt a chill run down her spine. "Why did you come back?" Ethan turned toward her. "Because the veil is breaking," he said. "Something inside it is waking up, and it's angry." Before she could ask more, alarms began to scream through the Nova Dawn. The radar flared with hundreds of red dots. A massive fleet had just entered the system. Ships of the Galactic Alliance. The voice on the intercom was cold. "This is Admiral Trask of the Galactic Alliance. You are ordered to surrender the human anomaly known as Ethan Reyes immediately." Mira froze. "They call you an anomaly," she whispered. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment, as if listening to voices only he could hear. Then he said quietly, "They fear what they don't understand." The two queens moved forward, their eyes glowing brighter. Energy began to rise around them, bending the air. Serenya's voice filled the ship like a storm. "They will not take our son." Kaelra raised her hand and a faint hum filled the entire vessel. The Nova Dawn systems flickered, but not in danger. In protection, as if the ship itself was being shielded by invisible power. Outside, the Alliance fleet prepared to fire. Hundreds of plasma cannons locked on the small Terran ship. Mira turned to Ethan, her face pale. "What do we do?" Ethan stared out at the endless armada blocking their path and whispered, "We show them what happens when humanity returns from the void." And as his words echoed, the two alien queens stepped beside him, their hands glowing like twin stars. Together they faced the darkness, mother, son, and mother, ready to shake the galaxy once more. Secrets of the Veil. The Nova Dawn hung at the edge of the Veil of Echoes, surrounded by darkness deeper than space itself. The Galactic Alliance fleet loomed ahead, thousands of warships glimmering like sharp stars. Their message was clear: surrender or be destroyed. Inside the ship, the tension was like a living thing. The crew waited for orders, their hands shaking over the controls. But Ethan Reyes stood calm, between the two alien queens who glowed softly in the dim light. The air around them hummed with quiet power. Captain Mira looked at him, fear in her eyes. "Ethan, they have enough firepower to destroy 10 planets. What are you planning to do?" Ethan's gaze stayed fixed on the stars. "I'm not here to fight," he said softly. "I came back to warn them. But they won't listen until they see the truth." Before anyone could respond, the two queens raised their hands. Energy rippled through the air. A glowing sphere appeared in front of them, slowly rotating, a vision of the past. The crew watched as the holographic image formed. It showed Ethan's ship, Horizon 1, swallowed by a storm of light and darkness 15 years ago. The sound of breaking metal echoed faintly through the projection. Ethan's voice narrated softly. "When my ship fell into the veil, time disappeared. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move. I thought I was dying." The hologram showed him drifting in darkness, surrounded by shadows that whispered and shifted like smoke. Then 2 brilliant lights appeared, one blue, one silver. Their shapes slowly became 2 figures, the queens, Serenia of Alaris and Kaelra of Vorn. They reached toward Ethan, their forms breaking apart like glass. Their voices overlapped, echoing in pain and hope. "Help us, or we die forever," Ethan continued. They were trapped, not in space, but in memory. They were dying minds, lost in the veil for thousands of years. I tried to save them, but the veil wanted to keep us all. The crew watched as Ethan's body glowed in the projection, his veins burning with light, the two queens' essence wrapped around him, merging with his form. "We fused," Ethan said quietly. "Their souls became part of me, and mine became part of them. We kept each other alive," Mira whispered. "You became one being," Ethan nodded. "Yes, we shared everything. Pain, love, history, memory." The hologram changed, showing massive shadow creatures drifting through the veil, shapeless forms. Like gods made of darkness, their eyes burned like suns. Staring straight at the ship, Kaelra's voice deepened. "They are the keepers of the veil, the ancient minds that guard its balance. They feed on energy, on memory, on fear," Serenia continued. "When we merged with the human, the balance was broken. The keepers began to wake. The crew shivered. The room grew cold, as if the memory itself carried the chill of death." Ethan looked down, his voice almost a whisper. "The veil isn't just space. It's a living consciousness and a mirror of creation itself. When I escaped, it followed. It's coming here." Mira stared at him. "Coming here? To our galaxy?" He nodded slowly. "It wants what it lost, me." Outside the ship, a deep vibration rippled through the void. Space shimmered as something massive moved in the distance. The Alliance fleet began to panic, ships changing formation. Their sensors couldn't explain the disturbance. Admiral Trask's voice thundered across the comms. "What have you brought upon us, human?" Ethan stepped forward, his voice calm but filled with power. "I brought you a warning. The veil is alive. It remembers every civilization that ever fell into it. It devours them. And now it wants more. Before the Admiral could respond, a bright tear appeared in the fabric of space. Silent and beautiful, the stars bent around it and whispers filled every ship's comm channel. Thousands of voices, ancient and sorrowful. The alien queens turned toward Ethan, their eyes glowing brighter. "It has found us," Serenia said quietly. "We must decide," Kelra added. "Hide. Or stand against it," Mira shouted. "What can we do against something that eats entire worlds?" Ethan's expression hardened. The soft human warmth in his eyes faded, replaced by something deeper, something older. "It's not about fighting," he said. "It's about remembering who we are." He turned toward the queens, and their hands met his. The ship trembled as energy filled the corridors. Lights burst and screens flickered. Every human aboard felt something, and a warmth, a memory, as if a part of the universe itself had touched them in that moment. Ethan saw everything. The rise and fall of alien civilizations, wars older than galaxies, and the faces of humans who dreamed of the stars. He whispered, "The veil wants to erase life's memory. But humanity, we remember, we fight to exist. Even when the universe forgets us." The hologram shattered, and for a second, everyone on the bridge saw the truth. An ocean of souls swirling in the darkness, waiting, watching, calling Ethan's name. The alarm screamed again. Space cracked open outside. The Nova Dawn shook violently. Ethan turned to Mira, his voice calm despite the chaos. "Tell the Council that the veil is not our enemy. It's our reflection." Then he stepped forward. Glowing brighter than any star, his body began to hum like a living engine. "It's time they learn what humanity became beyond the stars." And as the veil storm reached for them, the Nova Dawn vanished in a burst of light, leaving the entire Alliance fleet staring into the void, where, for a brief moment, they saw the face of a human, shining like a god, the war of blood and light. The light faded, and the Nova Dawn reappeared far from the Alliance fleet, drifting in silence. The crew gasped for breath as systems slowly came back online. Their screens flickered with strange symbols, glowing marks that no computer could understand. Ethan stood at the center of the bridge, still shining faintly with silver and blue light. His body was calm, but his eyes burned with a strange fire. The two alien queens, Serenia and Kelra, stood beside him, no longer just queens but something greater, their energy flowing like living light. Captain Mira tried to speak, but her voice trembled. "Ethan, what happened?" He looked at her gently. "We're between worlds now. The veil tried to pull us back, but the bond between us kept the ship whole." She stared through the viewporting, and her heart stopped. Outside, the stars themselves seemed to twist and bend, forming a ring of light around a massive shape. It wasn't a planet, nor a ship. It was the veil itself, alive, moving like a storm with a heartbeat. From its center, a deep voice echoed. "Ancient and endless, return the lost one, or all shall fade." The crew covered their ears, but the sound wasn't heard, and it was felt, deep in the bones. Serenia's voice cut through the silence. "The Keepers demand their balance. They will consume this galaxy to restore it." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we won't let them." Kelra looked at him, her eyes soft yet full of sorrow. "You are human, but you carry our light. The veil will not stop. It sees you as a piece of itself." Ethan took a deep breath. "Then I'll remind it what being human means." Back on Earth, the Terran Council was in chaos. Transmission from Nova Dawn showed impossible readings, gravitational anomalies, energy fields beyond comprehension. Every planet prepared for the worst. Alliance fleets converged from all directions, joining forces for the first time in centuries. The message was simple: contain the human anomaly or risk extinction. Mira's ship shook as the Alliance armada arrived, 1,000 warships encircling them like steel predators. Ethan watched them quietly. "They fear what they should be learning from," he whispered. Admiral Trass's voice crackled through the channel. "Human vessels, stand down or face destruction. You have 1 minute." Mira turned to Ethan. "They'll destroy us, Ethan." Ethan nodded slowly, then looked at the queens. "It's time." Serenia and Kelra stepped forward, placing their hands on his shoulders. Energy surged through the ship. The air shimmered, metal hummed, and for a heartbeat every star outside dimmed. Then it began, the war of blood and light. The Alliance opened fire. Thousands of plasma bolts tore through the void. But as they struck, the Nova Dawn split into streams of glowing light, each one bending and weaving through the chaos like living fire. The alien queen's voices echoed through every mind. We are Alaris and Vorn reborn. We will not bow. The fleet's weapons lost power. The energy from their reactors drained into the surrounding space, forming shapes, glowing wings spreading from the Nova Dawn. Mira watched in awe. The ship. It's alive, Ethan's voice filled the bridge, strong and clear. Humanity was forged in struggle. We faced extinction. We bled, we built, we remembered. We don't run from the dark, and we walk into it. The light expanded, swallowing the incoming fire. Each plasma shot turned into harmless sparks, drifting away like embers in the wind, but the keepers were not done. From the heart of the veil, massive shadows emerged, each one larger than a planet, their bodies formed from broken memories. Cities, ships, worlds, all fused into monstrous shapes. They spoke in one united voice: the child of light must return, or all will be consumed. Serenya's hands trembled. Ethan, if they take you, everything ends, but if you fight them... He looked at her, calm and sad. If I fight them, I destroy the balance. If I run, they destroy the galaxy. Kelra's voice broke. There is another way. You can return, but not as their slave. You can become the bridge. Ethan nodded slowly, understanding. The bridge between what was and what must be. The queens placed their hands together, light forming a sphere between them. Ethan stepped into it, his body began to fade. Turning into light and shadow at once, Mira shouted, "Ethan, no! You'll die!" He smiled softly. "No, Captain, humans don't die. We become stories." The energy burst outward, filling the space with pure white light. The shadows screamed as their forms broke apart. The Alliance ships went silent, their weapons frozen mid-fire. Through the comms, Ethan's voice echoed. Not angry, not afraid, but calm and human. "Remember this. The stars are not gods, and the void is not death. Humanity does not kneel to fear. We rise from it." The Nova Dawn disappeared in a wave of light. And when the brightness faded, the veil of echoes was gone, only silence remained. And a single message repeating across every ship system: balance restored. The bridge stands. Mira stared into the emptiness where the veil had been, tears filling her eyes. "He did it," she whispered. "He saved us all." Far across the stars, in the quiet space between worlds, two lights moved side by side, one blue, one silver, guarding a small, human-shaped glow that pulsed softly like a heart. Ethan Reyes, the human who vanished beyond the stars, had become something greater than legend. The son of two worlds, the galaxy was silent. For the first time in recorded history, there was no war, no transmissions, no sound, only quiet awe. The veil of echoes had vanished, leaving behind a calm that felt both peaceful and unreal. In the heart of that silence, the Terran Alliance searched the void, scanning for the Nova Dawn, for Ethan Reyes, for anything, but there was nothing, not even a trace of wreckage, only faint energy patterns, gentle, rhythmic, like the beating of a heart. Captain Mira Holt sat alone in her command room, staring at the empty star map. 15 years ago, humanity lost Ethan once. Now it felt like they had lost him again, but deep down, she knew better. Humans had a way of leaving marks that never faded. One day, the Council called her to a secret briefing. Scientists showed her strange readings from the outer sectors. Two moving energy signatures glowing like twin suns. They were traveling together, slow but steady, protecting something small between them. Mira's heart skipped a beat. "It's him," she whispered. "He's still out there." Across the galaxy, in the space once ruled by chaos, two ancient empires, Alaris and Vorn, stirred back to life. The alien queens had returned, reborn from light, but changed forever. They carried within them fragments of humanity, compassion, warmth, and something new called hope. They rebuilt their worlds not with conquest, but with peace. For the first time, the ancient enemies spoke to each other. They shared stories of the human who became their son. Serenya's people called him the Bridge of Light. Kaelra's people called him the Human Flame. And together they named him Ethan the Eternal. They said he walked between worlds, guiding lost souls, keeping the veil from ever rising again. No one had seen him, but many swore they felt him, and in dreams, in starlight, in the quiet whisper of space. Years passed. Humanity grew stronger, wiser, kinder. The fear of aliens faded, replaced by curiosity. The Council built a monument in the center of the Galactic Concord, a towering statue of a human figure standing between two radiant shapes. One silver, one blue, the plaque beneath it read, "He vanished beyond the stars. and returned as more than human. He taught the galaxy that family is not born, it is chosen. Mira attended the ceremony. She stood quietly as the crowd bowed their heads. No one noticed the tear that ran down her cheek. She whispered softly, "You did it, Ethan. You really did." That night, as the crowd dispersed, a strange shimmer appeared above the monument. A faint figure, glowing softly, calm and human, stood watching. It was Ethan, or what was left of him. His body was made of light now, his face peaceful. Behind him, two enormous shapes hovered, gentle and luminous. The alien queens, Serenia and Kaelra, stood like guardians. Their eyes full of pride, Ethan's voice was soft, carried not through sound but through feeling. "Humanity has grown," he said. "You learned what we forgot, that strength is not in power but in care. The galaxy lives because you refuse to give up on life itself." Mira turned slowly. Sensing something warm in the air, she looked up and smiled. "Welcome home, Commander," she whispered. Ethan smiled back, his form flickering like a candle. "Home isn't a place, Mira. It's the people who remember you." The light began to fade, but his words lingered, spreading across the network. Across worlds, across minds, every being, human and alien, heard the same message echoing in their hearts. "We are not alone. We never were. The stars remember us decades later." Children born on distant colonies would look up at a special constellation near the edge of the Milky Way, a hand-shaped cluster of stars shining faintly blue and silver. They called it the Hand of Ethan. Whenever they asked what it meant, their elders would say, "That's the sign of the human who went beyond death to bring peace, the one who taught even gods how to love." And so, the legend of Ethan Reyes and the Son of Two Worlds lived on. He became a myth, a symbol, and a promise that no matter how far humanity travels, no matter what they face, the spirit of compassion and courage will always guide them. Somewhere in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, a soft glow moves between the stars. Three lights traveling together, one human, two eternal. Guardians of the balance, protectors of the living, bound not by blood but by choice. Ethan, Serenia, and Kaelra, the family born from darkness, now forever watching the galaxy they saved. And when the quiet reaches deep space, sometimes, just for a moment, a whisper echoes across the comms of passing ships. "He vanished beyond the stars, but never truly left us." The message repeats, calm and timeless, drifting through the void. Humanity remembers.